Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome everybody to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on current college hockey player, plays Division III at Newman University. His name is Luke Croucher. Luke is doing a phenomenal job teaching and molding young minds, as Jack Black said in School of Rock. And just an inspirational dude. Just an inspirational dude. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's rock. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably laughing. It's a podcast, so you're probably not laughing right now, but Vex and I are. That's okay. Before we do get over to Luke, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the guy who just made me laugh and screwed me up, Jeffrey J. Hulavecchio. Vex, what's shaking today?
What up, doggy? I just had my signature GMBM American Gains smoothie. If you live in St. Louis, you can go to Chesterfield S2. I have a signature smoothie there. Not a big deal. Toph tried it, loved it, said it was the best thing he's ever had in his life. Or at least that's what the quotes I wrote said for him.
True story.
Guys, as we were recording and filming this podcast, I just got a text from one of the Frederick fam, one of my clients, an all-around absolutely amazing human being and former Hockey Think Tank podcast guest. Forward for the Boston Bruins, Trent Frederick, just got announced that he was awarded the Bruins 7th Player Award, which is super, super cool. They announced it before the game, had a little ceremony. I was talking to his brother, who's also one of my former clients, Grant Frederick, and he said Trent didn't know it was coming. So really, really cool, really special, really excited.
Explain what the 7th Man Award is. For people that not know what this.
It's for like the guy who embodies being a Bruin, basically, and lives out the fans love him. He's there in the community, like all those types of things, and it's an important award. And Trent is literally one of the best human beings I've ever met. Like he's up there with Toph and Jeff Lerg and Andy Meyer and these people that nobody can really say a bad word about, or else they're dead to me, because they just have such big hearts and are such good people and do a lot for the people around them. So super, super happy for Trent. Guys grinded to get where he's at, and it's cool to see him getting rewarded and having his best season yet to date. Last 3 years in a row, he's broken, maybe 4 years, he's broken point totals from the year before, played more and more, bigger role. It's very, very exciting for him. He's earned it.
And we had Freddie on the podcast a few years ago. It was literally the day after. Go to YouTube, it's on there. Alex Ovechkin totally cup checked him and
speared him in the nuts.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. So yeah, it was pretty funny. We got to ask him about it. What did you call it? You're like, first question I have for you, Freddie. How's your ding dang?
It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh gosh. I had an eventful weekend. I went up to Minnesota for the Frozen Four. So got to see the boys of Michigan play against BC, got to see BU in Denver. And so first of all, congrats to David Carl and his staff at Denver for winning yet another national championship. Dude, this guy's 34 years old. He has 2 national championships as a head coach and a World Junior gold medal as a head coach.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
That is literally insane. And just his story, if you don't know his story, he was actually on Spit and Chicklets this week. I listened to it. I'm in Nashville right now. But just listened to it on the way down here. And it's just really inspiring story. We talk about adversity all the time and trying to find a positive in different situations. And he's a guy that was supposed to be, a huge NHL prospect and was told right before the NHL draft that he had a heart condition and he had to retire from playing hockey. And Denver, he was supposed to go to Denver. They honored his scholarship. And rather than going there as a player, he went there as a coach at 18 years old. And just a crazy story. So 34 years old, 2 national championships as a head coach, World Junior gold medal. So congrats to Denver on doing that. Got to see the Michigan boys play. Little disappointing. Didn't get through BC. BC's loaded, man. Like that freshman line that they have is disgusting.
Yucky.
Absolutely disgusting. And their goalie was unbelievable too, Jacob Fowler. So not in the cards for Michigan this year, but also want to congratulate a couple of the Michigan boys on signing contracts. So as of today, Gavin Brindley signed his first contract. He is currently playing in his first NHL game tonight for the Blue Jackets. Dylan Duke signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning. What a career he had. Frankie Nazar signed his first contract, and he is playing for the Blackhawks. And I actually got the chance to go and watch him play in Chicago over the weekend. So it was so cool. Got to see his mom beforehand. She was telling me about like the last 24 hours of like how crazy it was. And it's not easy to leave early, man. It's not when you love a place, and you know this more than anybody because you did it. So did I, but not really. Didn't happen at all. It's hard. It's a really hard decision, you know, and you're leaving your best friends. You're leaving a place that's given you so much over the past 1, 2, 3 years, however long you've been there. And but just extremely happy for the guys. Frankie in his first period gets a breakaway and absolutely snipes. And it was just cool, man. Like I legit had tears in my eyes watching that because I was there with him last year. Like he didn't play the whole first half of the year, basically the whole first 3 quarters of the year because he was hurt and he had to get surgery. And so like again, when you're with people, when they're going through the tough stuff, and then when they do end up reaching the goal, reaching the pinnacle, like, you know how much it means when you were there during the hard times. Right. And so I'm just very, very happy for those guys, and all really good dudes on top of obviously being really good hockey players. And whenever you get the chance to see somebody live out their dream, like that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff.
So cool. That's got to be really really fun for you to see those guys achieving their dreams like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, really, really cool. And this conversation was really, really cool. Do you like that transition?
That was, I mean, you're not supposed to talk about the transition after you do it. You just flow into it because you killed it, and then you
feel the
ruined it.
flow, doing the bull dance,
up and down
the flow,
and around,
working it.
Well played. Did you see my Instagram post?
By the way,
did you see my Instagram post where I took Chubbs all in the hips and I put it on me doing a hip drill? Dude, I gotta send it to you. I was making the video in my home gym, and I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna do this hip drill, and I've been wanting to do this for a while. I want you to take Chubbs Peterson's "It's All in the Hips" like 10 seconds and lay it over this. He's like, what are you talking about? My video guy, Matt, you know him. He's not a hockey guy, and I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. Trust me. And he made it for me, and I don't care if anybody liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, you got to show me that.
I'll send it to you. But anyways, back to Luke. Yeah, you guys are going to love this guy. All right. So much crap and brutal terribleness out on social media in the world. And I don't know how long I've been following Luke. I honestly have no idea, but he always pops up on my feed. He's always positive. He's always giving back. He's giving out free information. He's currently in college doing all of this.
Currently playing college hockey while he's doing this.
Yeah, playing Division III college hockey, and he's giving away all this free info. And it's very, very cool. And I really respect what he's doing. And he clearly cares, and he clearly is very well read. He's a young philosopher, I would say. He drops some he's soft spoken, but he drops some serious knowledge bombs where he's living at a 10,000 foot view, and the rest of us are living at a 10-foot view. So you guys you're gonna get a lot from this one, and you're gonna like it. And it's somebody that I would definitely say to throw a follow, because I think he's gonna do some cool things for the hockey world in the next 10 years.
Awesome, man. Very, very cool. Before we do get over to Luke, though, we do have some people to thank. First people I want to thank is going to be a little differently this time. It's going to be a little differently this time. Our title sponsor, IceHockeySystems.com.
Wow.
Whoa! So, Ice Hockey System, title sponsor for the Hockey Think Tank podcast. And these guys are amazing. This is such an unbelievable hockey resource for everybody. Go to icehockeysystems.com. They have thousands of drills, whiteboard explanations from really seriously high-level hockey people, including somebody on this podcast. So you also have the opportunity. We have partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single person in your organization. Imagine being able to build a drill library with every single one of your coaches. Your coaches can put in practice plans that other coaches can use. Your coaches can draw up drills that other coaches can use. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal resource. They also have access to the Hockey Think Tank Parent Survival Guide. And hockey directors out there, less phone calls, less angry emails by having the Hockey Think Tank Parent Survival Guide to give to your parents. So hop on icehockeysystems.com, look up the associations platform. This thing is unreal. Vex, go.
Train Heroic, unbelievable. Just can't thank these guys enough. They are the reason that I am able to train so many hockey players all across the world, especially in the off season, for such a cheap price. They've allowed me to build this thing where I can film and coach any player, whether they're on their own at the gym, if they're working out as a team, they're on vacation, they're working out at home. I've been able to film and use their platform to help so many players train smarter and harder that didn't have access to quality training before. And it's not just a PDF like it was when Toph and I were kids. And you get your workout sheet. It was impossible. I got one for my NFL guy. The thing was impossible to read. I'm a strength coach. And I was like, what? I got to go through the X axis to the Y axis on this date. What's the sets and reps? Like, no, easiest app ever, right? Videos of me demonstrating and coaching everything, constant DMs, access to me 24/7 with any questions you have. I had 21 teams and organizations last year, and I've got quite a few more orgs signing up with me for next year. So I can't thank them enough. If you are a team, a parent, a coach, a player, and you're looking to train with me online for a fraction of the price, reach out to me or go to my website, gmbm.com, and look up my training programs from Train Heroic. Can't thank them enough. Also want to thank Cured Nutrition. Cured Nutrition, CBD company I'm with. I actually just had them reach out to me. Would love to have I think we're going to get their owner on, their founder, Joe, on. You are going to love this guy, Toph. He's lived some stuff. He's an awesome human being. Does a lot for health and wellness community, does a lot for mental health, does a lot for business coaching. He's a great dude, and I can't thank Cured Nutrition enough. I take CBD twice a day, every day, especially having 14 traumatic brain injuries that I know of with concussions from hockey. Taking CBD for me every single day has helped dramatically. It also helps with recovery from my intense training. So if you have any questions on CBD, please just reach out to me. I'll help you any way I can, or go to curednutrition.com and use my discount code GMBM.
There we go. And we with our listeners are always very vulnerable and honest, right? I think that's part of the reason why, people love our podcast. We're not afraid to talk about the crap. We're not afraid to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff. So this next sponsor, guys, NHL Sense Arena. So all of our sponsors, I was talking to them the other day, and all of our sponsors have been like, dude, like our stuff's been flying off the shelf, like with like our coupon codes and all that kind of stuff. And I can't believe that like more people have not gotten NHL Sense Arena. Like, guys, like I'm telling you, this thing is unbelievable. Like Vex, we both got to do it when I was down in St. Louis, and it's so much fun. And like, where else can you work on your hockey sense without having to be on the ice? Like reaction time, like all these different things, right?
It's definitely something I needed. Needed this thing. Why couldn't you have been a thing 20 years ago?
Yeah. And everybody knows, like, we don't promote products that we don't believe in or we don't think can really, really help you. And this is one that we do. Like we really believe it. Like this is an awesome product. And so it was weird. Like when I was talking to them the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, we haven't had that many people kind of do it through your discount code." I was like, "What?" I was like, I'm going to have an honest conversation with my listeners right now. And so what I'm going to do again, because Vex loved it the first time. I'm going to do the ad read. Okay. I'm going to do an ad read. I'm going to read it. And I want to make sure that you guys know exactly why this is a huge value add to what you're doing. Okay. And so Vex, are you ready to rock and roll?
Hit me with it.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, NHL Sense Arena! ! Are you tired of the constant struggle to find and afford the ice time you need to push your hockey skills to the next level? Nope, you're not alone. Every player knows the pain of trying to fit in that crucial extra practice, because while we have a lot of great options to work on the physical skills off the ice, we don't have many options to work on the cognitive and awareness skills. What if you could bring that on ice practice experience home to work on your hockey sense anytime, anywhere? If so, you've got to check out NHL Sense Arena. It's a virtual reality training game that's transforming how players and goalies practice by creating an immersive experience where you can work on your hockey sense, sharpen your situational awareness, and improve your reaction speed. Get unlimited access to 100 plus drills for both players and goalies, training plans from pro players and coaches, weekly challenges, and more. It's the edge you've been looking for, making top tier training accessible and affordable for just over $1 per day. And for our listeners, you can save $50 on an annual plan with the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, at checkout. That's right, $50 off, making this revolutionary training tool not just a game changer on the ice, but also for your wallet. Don't let this opportunity slide past you like a missed breakaway. Go to hockey.sensearena.com. That's HOCKEY.SENSEARENA.com and use our coupon code use our coupon code ThinkTank, one word, to save. Got about 99% there. It's pretty good, right?
I'm gonna give you an A minus. I'm gonna give you an A, maybe an A, flat out A. I think you get a flat A. That was great.
A flat A,
flat A, like not an A plus, not an A minus, an A.
Kind of messed up at the end there.
I'm giving you a 97%. Like really, I felt the energy.
97.
Yeah, felt the energy. Delicious energy. You did say cuckoo.
I was in between coupon code and code.
There's a lot of spelling. R-O-K, rock. R-O-C-K.
R-O-K,
C
yeah.
is silent.
Oh, if you know that movie, we love you as well.
We love you. Thank you
Last
for listening.
sponsor is Helios Hockey. These guys are unbelievable. Awesome product. It is a chip, a sensor that goes into your shoulder pads that gives you real-time data, real-time feedback as you're on the ice, and you can get it right after you're on the ice. And they have unbelievable things with your stride mechanics. They have unbelievable feedback for what they call a hustle score for all the younger kids out there. And the game changer is it pairs up with whatever you're doing for video, and you get your shifts cut up for you after the game right away. Absolute game changer. So go to helioshockey.com, and we also have a coupon code with them. It is ThinkTank, one word, and it will give all new Helios members 20% off their initial 12-month membership, and it will also get that sensor for free. So go to helioshockey.com today. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. We think this one is really going to resonate with everybody, with Luke. Just an open book for somebody that's going through it right now, somebody that's absolutely going through it right now and is trying to give back. Dude, it's just really cool to see people give back to the game. And you see some players doing it, but like this dude's taking it to a whole nother level. And we're just so proud to see that. His values, his mission, the same as ours. And you guys are going to love this one. If you can, for us, just a little bit of an ask. If you can, share us with your people. Share us with your people. Give us ratings, reviews, all that kind of stuff. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we're all over the place. It just helps us to reach more people, and that's our goal. We want to create a positive impact on this hockey world by doing what we do with this podcast, bringing on incredible guests. So if you can, we appreciate every like, every comment, every download, every rating, every follow, every share, everything like that. And we just appreciate you guys so much. And you guys are going to love this one. So without further ado, here we go. Current college hockey player, Newman University, Luke Croucher. We know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. If you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can see all the available lines and all the available odds for all NHL games going on. That's right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. We are so excited to have. He's out at Newman University right now. It's Luke Croucher. Luke, how we doing today?
What's going on, guys? Jeff, Topher, I appreciate you guys having me on here today. It's my honor, and I've never really done anything like this, so I'm actually pretty excited to kind of just shoot shit, I guess.
First timer?
Yeah, honestly, in any podcast format. So, it's kind of fun.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like with what you're doing,
think, right?
You might be a host of a podcast at some point.
Yeah, that is definitely down the pipeline, and one day I hope so. I can host guests like both yourselves.
I love
Hell
it.
yeah,
So,
celebrities and models is what you mean. Awesome.
so I'm the celebrity. You're the model.
Well, I was going to say I'm both, and I'm both.
Yeah,
and
I'm just.
right.
I'm just.
you're the
I'm
face.
just
You're the brains. You're the brains and the face for radio.
Right.
That's right. Face for podcasting now. Jeff, get with the times. Anyways, so I want to get into how you fell in love with the game, but first, Vex, right before we got on here, you mentioned something on Luke's Instagram profile, which I absolutely love. And so, if you can give our listeners like a little bit of a 30-second elevator pitch of why you were so like, we got to have this kid on our podcast, and then say the line, because they go hand in hand.
Yeah, 30 seconds. All right, go. I don't know when I started following Luke. I can't even remember, honestly, but I remember I started to see his videos. He started to pop up, and then like anything, when you watch a couple of somebody's videos, more and more come up. And he's always talking to the next generation of hockey. He gives out so much free information. He gives out quality information, and you can tell that he genuinely is trying to help whoever is following him. I've seen his following grow over the last bit because he's putting out such quality information. And the first line on Luke here's Instagram bio says, "Helping the hockey player I once was." And for those of you guys listening to this podcast and have been longtime listeners, you know that is exactly what this podcast is about. So I was really excited to ask him to come on, and he obliged. And this is the first podcast, so let's rip this rodeo here. Well, that's not a saying. Okay,
Let's do it.
No, you know what? Let's rip the rodeo, Vex. Let's do it.
What an idiot.
So, Luke, you're from Ancaster, Ontario, Southern Ontario. It's such a pretty awesome hockey town. There's been quite a few players that have come through there.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit how you fell in love with the game.
Well, honestly, like the only reason why I got into the game in the first place is only because my friends were playing it. A lot of people don't know. My parents are both from England. They lived just outside of Manchester growing up. And my mom actually came over here as a nanny when she was 19 years old. My dad served in the British Army until he was about 27 years old. So then the love story happened. He met my mom in Canada, and the rest kind of unfolded from there. And in Ancaster, it is still a big hockey town, but at the time it was just like peaking. A coach of mine, Kelly Reed, brought me in, and surprisingly, one of the first teams I ever made was the reason why I think it's so powerful, the story, and like giving back to the kid I once was, is because the very first team I ever made, I was the last pick. Not that it's a big deal at 6 or 7 years old, but I see it in a long-term picture. Like, you don't really realize the road you're about to travel when you're that age. And I think that was like one of the things. And then obviously the compete part of my sport, I think it's in the blood with my dad and my mom. So I'm just grateful for both my parents, and I'm able to still play the sport today. So I just love it.
So let me ask you this. So you grew up military family, and Vex and I both have so much respect for military and veterans. And we have Matt Thomas, who's a veteran that works with us with the Hockey Think Tank too. And first of all, thank you for all of you who are listening right now. But what was that like growing up in a military family? Just in terms of the life lessons you learned from your dad, and the things that you saw him kind of endure and go through. Military for me is the greatest leadership, development ever.
Yeah.
And also team building. Like, these men and women literally, like, we say it like you should take a bullet for your teammates, and they literally do. So tell me about what you kind of learned with your dad growing up, military family.
So that's the fun part of like the relationship with my family. You'd think like, hey, we're like raised as military, like, make your own bed, do this, do that, like be strict in order. But it's almost like, I heard this once on a podcast as well. It's like, you do not like teach the lesson, you catch the lesson. So all my lessons were not taught from my dad, they were caught from my dad. So like everything he did was just kind of like an eyeball effect. It was almost like I saw him like cooking food for the family, or I saw the activities he did, like, whether you think it's like a big deal or not, but raking leaves in the backyard might have been like one of those things. Or just going to work, doing his thing. My mom's privileged to be a stay-at-home mom, and the kids are the privileged part of that. And I think that is one of the biggest lessons, is that a lot of the stuff is not like directly taught and talked to. You just kind of like see it. Monkey see, monkey do. Was kind of like that mentality. And I don't think you have to beg somebody to do something. You just naturally kind of like, flows within that DNA that I just said.
Vex, I'm going to let you take this one because I think you're a very happy man right now.
Yeah, bro. I was on a podcast. It's probably a year ago now, called the Dad Edge podcast, and he said he was grilling me, asking me about. It's a really big podcast. Larry, great guy. Dad's out there. The Dad Edge podcast. Check him out. He is really, really doing cool stuff. But he was asking me about my work ethic and how I built my company and, all this type of stuff. And I was telling him all about my dad and growing up. So he starts asking me, and he's like, yeah, the best lessons from fathers to sons are caught, not taught. And I was like, oh, and I started thinking about how I am and my compete level in life, in business, in anything I'm doing, the intensity I bring, just the way that I am. And I was like, wow, I got all of this from Philly. What up, Pops? Hope you're listening. Love you, dude. like it's so true. And that's why having mentors like what you're doing on Instagram, what we're doing with this podcast, what we all do, in our lives every day, why it's so important, because we're helping that next generation catch, those things that we're trying to teach them that are going to help them be successful, happy human beings the rest of their life.
Vex, turn your phone off, jeez.
That wasn't my phone, bro. I don't know what that was. I think that was God saying, I agree.
It's a great message.
Hey, I have a great story with that. And I don't know if it's a great story, but something I did with Paige. So Vex, Paige, my 6, almost 7-year-old going on 30. So her and I are both wired very different, or very similarly. And like, we kind of like can get kind of like, we can get on each other's, because we're so similar. Sometimes we can get on each other's nerves, and like, she can get on my nerves so easily. And same thing, like, I can get on her so easily too. And it's so funny. So I'm trying to figure out a way to like, not get so kind of like mad when she like doesn't listen or do stuff. So I went into her room the other day, and I literally was thinking about caught, not taught as I was having this conversation with her. And I'm like, hey, Paigey, I noticed that, you were getting pretty mad earlier today, like with me. And, it reminded me of somebody. And she was like, who? I go, who do you think? Take a guess. And she goes, Bobby, my dad, her grandpa. And I was like, no. And then I was like, it reminded me of me. Like, because sometimes I get really short with you, and sometimes I get kind of upset with you, kind of like you get upset with me. And so I was like, I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of like calm us down when we get upset with each other. So let's have a funny word. Let's have a funny word. So like anytime you see me get really upset, you say this word, and every time I see you get really upset, I'll say that word, and then we can like calm down, and then we can like talk about it or whatever. And so she's like, okay, I think that's a great idea. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want that word to be? And she goes, poop. And I'm like, of course that's the word. She's 6 going on. Yeah.
She
So
wins.
yeah, I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, that works. So the next morning she comes into the room, and they're not supposed to, like, they're supposed to play in their room till 7:00. So until, if you wake up at 6:45, like play in your room, hang out there, and then at 7 you can get out. Well, it's 6:45, and she comes into the room, and I look, and I'm like, she sees me, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like, this is a rule. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's not 7. And I'm starting to get flustered. She looks at me, she goes, Dad, poop. And I started laughing because I didn't even know if she's going to remember it or whatever. She's 6, right?
That's great.
But they really like, they sometimes you notice they do stuff that you do, and you don't even, you're not trying to teach them for the good or the bad. And it's just crazy. So the caught not taught thing, like I'm living that right now, and my kids are still young. It's wild. So anytime listeners out there, you want to diffuse a situation, just say the word poop, and situation diffused.
Oh my god.
Well, that's cool. So you grew up in Ancaster. Were you a Leafs fan growing up?
Yeah, I have to be.
You're kind of closer to Buffalo, though, almost, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're in between. So like Ancaster, Hamilton, like halfway to Toronto, or we're an hour to Toronto, hour to Buffalo. I definitely grew up as like a Sidney Crosby fan in the Alex Ovechkin era. It was like 09, 10. You get to see Crosby score the game-winning goal and stuff like that. Those are guys I look up to always, all the time. But definitely a Leaf fan through and through, unfortunately. But
unfortunately, he says.
You know,
I like it. I like it. Well, tell us a little bit about like your junior hockey career, because I would imagine you had a dream of playing Division I hockey. You go through your youth hockey journey. You're in Ontario. You decide not to go to the OHL. Tell us a little bit about how that process kind of played out, and just your junior hockey experience altogether.
Sounds good. So I'll start with I played minor hockey through and through with the Hamilton Huskies organization, played AAA growing up, and I was undrafted. So my 14, 15-year-old year, I struggled those years. I feel like I just wasn't myself. I wasn't confident at all. Kind of gave me a sour taste in my mouth. So after my draft year, it was kind of like, okay, it's time to bounce back. It's time to turn things around. And in my 16-year-old year, I ended up playing prep school. It was like Blythe Academy just outside of Burlington, Ontario. That's about halfway to Toronto from Hamilton. And things kind of started to turn around. And then that was the time where I kind of got introduced to like weight training and resistance training. I feel like if I would have known it earlier, my 14 to 15-year-old years, probably even earlier, from 12 to 15, it was kind of not that I didn't know of it. I just didn't know I had to consistently be going at it. Do you know what I mean? It was more of like it's just like in season, out, off season, you kind of fluctuate back and forth. It was like, why didn't I just continue to keep doing it? I think that was like the moment, like I just like kind of went, okay. So my 16 years old over, and now I know I'm talking about my minor hockey career, but it ties to my junior career because this was like the breaking point for me, because a lot of guys had been picked up in the draft. And now there was an introduction to like a U18 draft during my 16-year-old year. So it kind of fired me up a little bit. And after a good 16-year-old year, I ended up not getting picked up by any team throughout that U18 draft. I realized after the fact I couldn't get picked up through prep school, but all my buddies in Hamilton were going to like camps, specifically like the Hamilton Bulldogs camp. So that spring, where I wasn't invited to any rookie camps, because usually in the OHL they'll do a rookie camp and then they'll do their main camp in August. I just said, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not putting up with it. I'm just going to worry about like getting in the gym a little bit more consistently and being on the ice more consistently. And I'm going to just do this for 3 months. I'm just going to put my head down and we'll see where it takes me. Long story short, I did not go to the rookie camp, but I ended up getting invited through a 4-on-4 camp to the Hamilton Bulldogs OHL main camp over summer. That is just to provide inspiration to kids that it does not take more than a year or two to get to where you want to go. It can take a compounded of 3 months. You just got to have a specific amount of focus and drive to actually do it. And I think a little bit of anger and getting a little pissed off helped with that as well, having some fire burning. But that was kind of the start. And then I'll let you guys kind of like bounce back on that. Like, how do you guys, like, was there a specific moment in your time maybe that like you like knew you kind of had to turn it around?
Look at the podcaster here.
Who's interviewing who here? I love it.
I mean, I have stuff to learn too. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. But well, let me ask you this though. Did somebody tell you, hey, 3 months or 2 months, or hey, you got it, it's not going to happen overnight, you got to do this? Or did that just come to you kind of on your own?
It came to me on my own, but I wish it just like somebody else just instilled it to me earlier. Like,
right. I was lucky. My parents, I've told on the podcast a lot. It was in 7th grade for me. It was my first year at AAA, and I was the last forward on the team. I barely played, and at the end of the year, I was like, I don't know, like I want to play AAA again, but I want to play more. Like this wasn't fun. And she was like, well, why don't you go into coach with a notebook and ask him, what do I need to work on, and write it down and then work on that all summer. And that's literally what I did every single day. And my career, my life, everything has been different since that meeting that I went in there. And because I worked my ass off that summer, and I wound up going from the 12th forward to top 6 and playing power play and scoring a bunch of goals and making select 16 and or 15, maybe that next year would have been. And just everything kept going up from there because I was just like, oh, if I work harder, I get better. If I work harder and smarter, I get better than guys who might have more skill than me, and all these types of things. So that's what it was for me.
I'm gonna go a different route, but I think this is a appropriate route too. So like for me, I was kind of always the best player, right? Like growing up, I wasn't
gross, dude. He was gross.
I obviously wasn't the biggest, but I could think the game, right? So yeah. I did pretty well. I wish I hit adversity earlier.
Wow.
Like, and I did. It's not to say like, I got cut. I played a year up and I got cut from that team. So I had to play my own year. Like that was a piece where it was like, oh crap, that was a moment for me. But I think it's important, like Vex, you kind of tell a story and Luke kind of you too, of like, I wasn't the best growing up. And then, I figured it out. But like that also happens to like the players who are at the top too, because at some point, if you're a player at the top, you ain't going to be the player at the top. And so learning how to fight through failure and learning through adversity, even if you are a top player. And that's why it's so important for like coaches to like not baby their top players for fear of them like getting upset. Like coaches in youth hockey, like you got to be hard on your harder players, on your top players. And you got to teach them stuff and you got to hold them accountable, because at some point they're going to need to know how to deal with some of that failure and some of that hard coaching. And so I don't know. I just thought it was important to give that side of the story too. Like you have to understand how to fight through stuff. You have to understand how to not be the best, because at some point you're not.
At one point you will be humbled. You will be humbled at one point.
The game has a unique ability to humble you. It has a unique ability to humble you, whether that's like a small humble or a big humble. Humble comes in all shapes and sizes. So just be ready for it, and the more that you have put yourself, or the more people around you have put you outside of your comfort zone to train you to get through it, the better off it's going to be in those more uncomfortable moments.
Yeah. 100%.
Dude, were you when you look back, how badly do you wish somebody would have just said it to you earlier? Like that's for me, it's like, well, I figured out at a pretty young age, 7th grade, but I'm like, well, what if somebody would have like really been able to get this through to me?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who said it,
No,
But-
there were. My parents were really good with that stuff.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, and the one thing I'm very grateful for my mom and dad for, and this is hard, especially in like this phase of my life where there's so many things going on with kids and new careers and all that kind of stuff. Like you have to find the positive in everything. That was something that my mom and dad, particularly my mom, would like beat into us. Like, what is the positive? We have to find a positive in whatever situation. And so like that was something that had always been preached, but you don't know until you're punched in the face, what getting punched in the face feels like. Right.
Yeah.
So like having the tools is important, and having people around you who can provide you and teach you those tools is important, but there's no greater teacher than life experience. And so hitting a little bit of some of that adversity as you're going up. So I don't want to say like I didn't learn it earlier. I just wish I'd been punched in the face a little bit earlier to understand how to deal with some of that stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys say was that like more so like accountability?
Yeah, but it's for me, it was like I literally had a speech. So I train TPH St. Louis Academy. So I got like 60 kids a day there right now. And I was I gave a speech to all three groups, the oldest group, the midgets, bantams and peewees, and then the youngest group. And essentially it was all of them. Like, I don't know what I need to say to you guys. I don't know what I need to say to you, but I will keep saying it every single day. Like, trust me. My goal as your off ice coach is that I don't want you to ever look back when you're 20, when you're 25, when you're 30 and say, I wish I would have just done blank. I wish I would have just done eaten better. I wish I would have went to sleep sooner. I wish I would have cared more about off ice training. I wish I would have listened to my coaches on what to do on the ice and practice and work on. Right. And so for me, my thing is like, I want to try to get that message through the players' heads as soon as I can. And depending on who's in front of me and what day it is and how they're feeling, it's my job as a coach to try and get that through to them, even more so than anything technique or X's and O's on the ice or anything wise. I want them to understand like how important that is if they really, really do love hockey.
Thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
What do you think, Luke?
I totally agree. I think it's just like, yeah, you don't realize like what you have until like it's all gone. It's all been laid out on the path, right? And that's why, like, yeah, like, would I do this all over again? 1,000%. You know what I mean? Would I have like maybe like nitpicked at some of the paths I took? Probably. But it's just like wanting to show up. And then I think a bigger thing that I might have lacked was just like exposing myself to like a bigger group of like athletes, or not a bigger group, but a higher level of athletes into a better environment. Do you know what I mean? Like going to the gym.
Role models? Is that what you mean? Like role models?
Like
kind of
role
thing people to
models,
look up to?
but more so like elite hockey players of my age or maybe older. So like, it's like, for example, like I used to do a lot of my training on my own throughout my junior hockey career. And I think not that I wouldn't have lifted the same amount of weight, or maybe I would have lifted a little bit more or less. It didn't matter. I think it would have just been the competition of being around an environment like that would have made me, one, realize that I'm actually better than I thought I was. And probably two, like, you can compete in this environment. You can actually, do something and make yourself something of it, or get at least better and humbled.
Love that.
I want to circle back to something you said a little bit earlier that goes along with what you're saying right now. And you talk about confidence in the weight room. And I'll ask you this, Vex, like, we talk about confidence a lot. And like, I don't know if there's anything that can give a younger kid, like teenage kid, more confidence than falling in love with the weight room. Like if a young kid falls in love with the weight room, like the amount of confidence that they get from doing that every day. And then when you see like some of the gains, especially if you like test them at the beginning and then you test them again and they've gone up, and they're like you said, Luke, like you're around like-minded people who are also in that same mindset of wanting to get better. I don't know, man. Like I feel like, especially coaching college hockey, the summer, sometimes there's kids that come back from their freshman year to their sophomore year, or sophomore year to junior year, and they're completely different people. And it's very intertwined with how much work they put, especially kids that like didn't love the weight room and then all of a sudden they do. They're literally a different person. The way that they communicate, the way that they look you in the eye when they talk, like their handshake is stronger. They're just like all those little intangible confidence things. So Luke, I don't know if that's something that you found in that. You mentioned that a little bit earlier, but like Vex, you must see that all the time.
It's my job to help people build that in themselves, right? No one can give you confidence. You could be a billionaire and walk up to me and say, give me confidence. I'll say, get in the weight room with me for the next 3 months and earn it yourself. No one can give you confidence. Only you can earn that. And there's nothing more tangible, nothing easier to see and feel and just know that you earned it more than working out in the gym. Because week 1, you can do 5 push-ups. You come 2 weeks later, we test you again. You can do 10 push-ups. You literally could not do your 6th push-up. You failed. But now you just doubled that in 2 weeks. That was you. I didn't do that. Mom and dad didn't do that. Your teachers didn't do that. Your coaches didn't. You are the only person who could have had an effect on those numbers. And when you do that, instant confidence. This is why I am obsessed with the gym. This is why I'm obsessed with training. This is why I only train groups, because of what Luke's saying here and the environment and competing against guys and being around guys to push yourself to be better, which is why I only train players in groups, because there's so much value in that and growing all summer and seeing other guys get stronger and lift more weights and all of that type of stuff, right? Like for me, it is the easiest thing to do as far as when you want to earn confidence. And I tell that to non-athletes as well as athletes. But in athletes, you are right. It is one of the biggest separators ever. And you instantly play better on the ice when you're more confident, because now you're going into the puck like, I'm going to win that puck. You're not going in timid. You're not going in like, oh, you're going in thinking, what's my next move? Because I know I'm coming out with it. Versus going in and trying not to break eggs in your pants like I used to before I started getting in the gym and being an absolute God model, whatever we want to say, part of that whole thing. You feel that way because you show a lot of gym content on your Instagram.
Oh, 100%. I think it was probably when things kind of changed for me. I wouldn't say I was like absolutely ripped or I am absolutely ripped or anything like that. I'm just like, I realized that one, you need a little bit of habits in order to get to the gym more often than not. Like motivation's not always going to be there.
What are the habits? Let's break that down, baby. You need habits to get there consistently. What are some things that you specifically did to get there more consistently?
So I always think about, I built this gym when I was 16 years old. And this is like the gap of where I lost my opportunity between my 16 and my 18-year-old year. I was so motivated after that 16-year-old year that I ended up the gym that I was working out at all of a sudden closed. So my environment, the door just shut. So I decided I'll take the gym and I'll bring it into my house. So I built the gym into my house, and that's where you'll see a little bit of my content here and there. And I was like, oh, this will be great. I'll still continue to work out. Now I look back at it. The reason why I couldn't get into that gym for the first 3 years, it stayed empty. The first 3 years, it stayed empty. I didn't hit it until I was 18 years old again. It's because I just didn't instill any habits. And the habits were either one, there was some accountability involved, but two, it was more so like understanding like habits happen usually in the same time and the same location of the day. They always say time has memory, location has energy. So if you can show up same time, same place every single day, you're more likely than not to show up there. So then like think about like really big gymnast guys. It's hard for them to get out of the gym because like they're so like interconnected with their like habit to go now. So sometimes it's a problem with me like to get out of the gym and like just rest and recover. And sometimes that could be a detriment to me, but like that's like those two main components. And then the last thing would be, I would always say, is like remove any friction, like lay out your clothes and stuff like that. It's a very nitty picky, but like you got to be willing to sacrifice these things in order to like get what you want. And I'm super type A, but it's what if I could have done it in that 16 to 18-year-old window, I'm not playing Division 3. I am not playing Division 3.
Time. What was that? Time has. Go ahead,
Memory.
say that again. Can you say that again and break it down? Because that sounded
got
very
it from
profound.
Jay Shetty. He's like a personal development guy.
Yeah, he's
Time
great.
has memory, and location has energy. I got it from Think Like a Monk in his book.
Can you break that down a little bit?
So, time has memory is just like like obviously circadian rhythm of like your body, like you kind of like have peaks and flows of energy throughout the day. But if you understand, like you're more familiar with those types of energies at specific times of the day, your body likes familiarity. That's why like everyone goes back to like, you know, that same maybe cheat meal, or you might see somebody, you know, go back to what they once was because it's habit. They haven't like really ingrained it. And that's like the one component. Time, like that memory portion happens usually similar windows, only because you're like, okay, like boom. It's like when you're having lunch every single day. You probably, would you guys say like maybe you have it like similar times of the day?
Yeah.
You
Lunchtime.
still have it.
Idiot.
Yeah,
What an idiot.
No, but yeah. And then what does he say about location as energy? Because I feel that's my goal.
Like that, I think that one's the most important one. Because like every coach says like, hey, showing up is like most of the work, 90% of the work. It's because like once you get to the gym and you start to see like everybody else, you're like, well, I'm not just gonna leave. And then especially if you have teammates and you have like, you know, obviously like Jeff, like you have an environment that surrounds like a group of guys. Now they're in it to, you know, fight against each other or fight with each other. So that energy is like, that's going to take over every time. And the way you feel after the words, it's a no-brainer. It's no-brainer.
Yeah, I really like that location as energy. I really like that, man. I mean, I like time has memory for sure, because that's habits and, you know, doing the same things every day at the same time type of thing builds routines and all this stuff. But for me, location as energy that's really, I'm going to write that down. It's super powerful because like literally, like, yes, first and foremost, my goal for all of my clients, whether it's NHL players, NFL players, college hockey junior kids, I don't care. I want them to want to come to my gym. I want them to want to be there. I want them, like this is week 2 of the off season. I've got like 16 guys there 30 minutes before the last 6 days. This is day 6. And I'm just like, dude, these kids are 14 to 18. They're 30 minutes early. And I'm like, I've done something right here. But it's like, but that is my goal. I want them to want to be there. And I'm killing them when they're in there. Like they're leaving dead, but like they want to be in there because I've made it that space, a space where the energy is positive and, you know, challenging, and it's competition and it's fun and it's all these things and it's responsibility. And like, for me, that is so, so, so powerful. And I want everyone to like think about the spaces that you want to have that type of energy as a coach, your locker room, the rink, the gym, the video room. Like you want to create that type of energy where they want to be, where they're comfortable learning it. That is on you to do that. And that doesn't mean you have to spend $1 million to make the nicest locker room, the nicest gym. When I started my gym, I had 4 pull-up bars, 4 medicine balls, and like 4 bands. That's what I had for like 3 months before I could afford to put more in there, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then more. It was a year ago, it was nothing like it is now. 3 years ago, there was nothing in there. But it was the energy and what we did with the space that accomplished the goal and made people want to be in there. And as a coach, as a business owner, as an employee, it's your job to do those things with whatever space you're in and make it a special space that you attract people to want to be in. Super, super, super important. And I see this every day, and I'm going to keep going right now because when I go to some places and some businesses, The energy is awful. The people working there, they don't greet you. They're unhappy. They're pouty. And it's like, then I talked to Kylie, my wife, about this all the time. We had a long conversation and a long drive this weekend. Is that chicken or the egg? Are they there because of that type of thing they're bringing to rooms, to businesses, whatever? Or is it vice versa? They've been beat down, so now they are that way. But I know that if it is that, they're never going to go up in the world, in life, in anywhere, if they are constantly bringing that type of energy. And Toph always talks about energy vampires and how, you get one or two bad eggs in a room, in a company, on a team, it is going to ruin that culture so much faster than if it was the inverse. Positive people can't affect change as much. So you really got to focus on your location's energy.
Couldn't have said it better. Nice work. Can I go back to the times memory though?
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's really funny when I go around and I talk with different teams. One of the things we talk about is routine and how important it can be. And I don't start here, but I end at, you got to do the same thing at the same time every single day. Like if you really want to execute, right? Because so many people set goals and then they do it for a day or two and then they don't do it anymore. I get cheat code, do it at the same time every day. Like literally just put it in your calendar, do it at the same time. So I always kind of mess with one kid and I always go, okay, what's something you want to work on? I want a better shot. Okay, awesome. How are you going to get a better shot? I'm going to shoot more pucks. Okay, awesome. How many pucks are you going to shoot? Like 100 a day. Okay, awesome. Where are you going to do it? I'm going to do it in my driveway. Okay, awesome. What days are you going to do it? Like you're going to do it Monday through Friday. Okay, awesome. What time are you going to do it? Like when I get home from school. Okay, awesome. But we just went from, I want to get a better shot. And that's where he's at. I want to get a better shot. And then we go to, I'm going to shoot 100 pucks Monday through Friday when I get home from school. Like that's a big deal. Time is memory. Like putting it into your routine, putting it into your schedule. Like maybe you're in sales. Okay, I'm going to make 5 sales calls, or I'm going to write 5 emails at 9 a.m. first thing I get into work. Boom. There you go. Like the more you can get specific with your goal setting, like I feel like that's the biggest fail in this like world we live in of like personal development, personal improvement right now, is like we don't get like really nitty gritty on what it means to set goals.
Bro, I literally said to my group tonight in the gym, the midgets and kids trying to play juniors, when we did our I will statements that we start every single workout with, that their goals for this summer and next season. And I literally said, you need to be very specific because you can't decide the route if you don't know the destination. And I saw a couple open their eyes and look at me, and I was like, yeah, I said that. Right? Like, yeah, you have to be specific with this stuff and break it down just like Toph did. And parents out there, if you have a player telling you they're going to shoot pucks and they have a goal and stuff, not pressing on them, but asking them, oh, how many pucks? Okay. When? How many days? Okay. What time? And just like, so that they break it down in their own head, lead them to the water, but don't push their head in. Right. Like, and then you're able to be there and, hold them accountable in ways that make sense for their age and stuff.
Yeah. You want to set goals, set the goals, have an accountability buddy, and do it at the same time every day. Right. Sorry. Let me start that over. Write them down and check them off. Have an accountability buddy and do it at the same time every day. Like if you do those 3 things, you will like 99% more to actually do the thing every single day. And that's all you can do. Get that little bit better every day. I was listening to a podcast. I wrote this down the other day, but you know how everybody always says like you can only get 1% better every day. 1% of a day is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. Or 21 seconds, something like that. So if you want to get better, 1% better at something, take whatever it is, a little skill, say like whatever it is, do it for 14 minutes and 24 seconds a day. And that is the proof in the pudding of getting that 1% better. When I heard that, I was like, dude, That is
That's sick.
unbelievable, right? So like, but be specific. Write it down, check it off. Write it down, check it off. It's a little reminder. Have an accountability buddy. Like if you have a little bit of positive peer pressure, or you're going to the gym with somebody, or you got to text that person, hey, I did my 100 shots today. Again, that's another little thing that's going to nudge you to do the little thing that you typically don't want to do. Right. So like all those, and then do them at the same time every day. Like I'm expecting a text from Vex at 6 a.m. that he did his whatever. And if I don't get that text at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., then I got to, tell Vex he's an idiot or whatever. I don't know. I go down the rabbit hole on this kind of stuff, and so many people like, just feel like it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. But those things seem really easy. They're not. They're really, really hard. But they're little cheat codes to make the hard a little bit more tolerable.
For real.
Is there anything that you found, you said not having the group, when you move the gym into your house, that you weren't consistent then? What brought you back into being consistent? What brought you back into, doing the right things at, I'm guessing it was 18, because you said 16 to 18.
Yeah. So both my 16-year-old year, so that I finally, I hit my peak. I was like, okay, I've been working out. I wasn't really working out with a group, but I wasn't working out with like any hockey players, but I was on the ice with a lot of hockey players. So I was doing a lot of competing there. But when I was in the gym, I was like around a lot of different other athletes who were pushing a lot of weight. So it pushed me as well. Once that gym was gone, like I lost that environment. And that's like where you say like that location is super important. And that's where like I lost all the habits and everything like that. In my 17, 18-year-old year, obviously I lost the habits. How did I get them back? I actually had to learn what it meant to have habits and how to get it all effective. So during that time, I kind of like, I've always been like very like ambitious about like business and like personal development and stuff like that. So I decided, because like after high school, 17, 18, so I graduated, like that 18-year-old year is when I started to really learn it. I picked up a book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And basically it explained like the routines and habits, and like scientifically how it works in your brain is like it revolves around like before you execute the big task that you want to do, you have to actually have a small set of routines before you do it. So it might be like, laying aside those clothes, putting on the shoes, tying up the laces, making sure your water bottle's filled. And you go through like those same little procedures. It's just like when you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wet your toothbrush, maybe you wet it, maybe you don't, whatever it is. Then you put the toothpaste on. Those are like small sets of routines before you execute the real routine. Maybe you swig a glass of water before you do all that. Those little steps actually matter more than you think. And then I started to realize, okay, in order for me to get to the gym, I set like almost a mini routine. So I would eat my lunch, then I would go for a walk. Walks will help you get a little bit more motivated because you're warming up a little bit, but you're not jumping right into the workout you don't want to do. Then I would eventually get into the gym, get on the bike, do a little bit bands, and all of a sudden I've started to sweat. I've started to crush some bands, and now I'm more confident to take on that workout as if I were to just eat and then go down into the gym, cold as stone. So just like you do a warm-up, I think warm-up is almost like a cue to your workout. Even though it actually needs to be done, it's a huge mental cue too that like is huge for athletes, I think.
Power Habit. I can tell you've read that book. That stuff you're saying. Hey, yeah. Jeff, did you hear that though? He goes for walks.
Oh God. Did we tell that story on the podcast, or is that just us?
I don't know if we did. Go ahead.
God. Oh my God.
I'm a huge walker.
Oh man. Toph was in St. Louis for the NCAA tournament 2 weeks ago. And how did it start, man? Was I telling you like Kylie wanted to go on a walk with me?
No, it's because we had to walk like far because we had to park far from the thing. Remember?
We had to park on Jupiter to walk into the NCAA games because there was so many people there, which is awesome. And here in St. Louis, in my hometown. And I was like, oh my God, we're parking so far away. I got to walk. I hate walking. I expend so much energy every day. The last thing I want to do is go for a walk. That's not even exercise to me. And he's like, you don't like walking? I was like, bro, I hate it. He's like, oh my God, that's so funny. When Emma and I, his wife, started dating in college, she was like, you want to go on a walk? And Toph was like, to where? And she was like, a walk. And he was like, where are we going? She's like, no, just a walk around. He had never been on a walk. And I was like, bro, my wife wants me to go on walks every day. So I bought her a golf cart to drive around.
I saw that video of you guys in a golf cart too.
Part of that was so I don't got to walk and I can just say, let's just take the golf cart, honey.
So funny, dude. I remember too, Benny Sire, who I worked with at Cornell, is like the best man ever. And I remember telling him the story about something like that. I was like, yeah, Em and I went for a walk. And he was like, you did what? I was like, yeah, we went for a walk. He was like, to where? I was like, that's what I said. I don't know. People just go for walks. He was like, they just walk? Like,
yeah, it's actually so good for you. It's walking is like after a meal, walking is literally like the best thing you can possibly do, but I still hate it.
All right. So I have a couple questions for you, Luke. First, so you do a ton on social media. Like for everybody, if you follow Jeff or I on social media, you have to follow Luke because he does a lot of similar stuff to what we do, but he's in it. Right. Like, especially for the kids out there that are listening to this, like Jeff and I, our playing days are long gone, but Luke's still playing college hockey right now. And he does a lot of this stuff. One of the things I noticed when I was on your social media is you have a community. So we have a community with the Hockey Think Tank that has been amazing. We've met so many awesome people through it. And we're able to share expertise, share perspective, not just us, but like everybody within the community. And you have a community through school, and school is Alex Hormozi's thing. Vex and you and I are big fans of him. So talk a little bit about this community, why you started it, what you do in it. Because I think that is such an amazing thing for you to do for, what was it? It's helping the hockey player that you once were.
Yeah. I appreciate it. And thank you for at least even letting me mention it. That's awesome. My whole goal is honestly, like I said, I want to give back. And I was like, okay, how am I going to find a way where I can still yeah, social media is great, but it's like a very fine, it's like the outside layer of who I am. It's like almost like the 1% of who I am. A lot of people don't realize that I've actually been coaching on the ice for like the last 10 years. But I don't showcase a lot of that stuff. It's just kind of like naturally integrated in my content. So I was like, how can I find a way where I'm going to be able to put like just like workout tutorials and like on ice programming, on ice drills, all the stuff like I've done. Maybe even I've thought about like nutrition and meal prepping and like how to do those things. And then obviously later down the line, it's going to be a big project. Especially if I'm going to try and do it for free, I'm going to make sure I try and do it in the best way possible while I still maintain monetization. And basically inside of it is just like an exclusive like way to get access to me. So my goal is to like give back to the community about 3 or 4 hours of my week to host like different like workout sessions, like in the basement shooting sessions, like, you know, understanding how do you change your shot? How do you fake your shot? What are you actually looking for in the mechanics of your shot? And just like provide those as free lessons. And then down the line, I can also see myself monetizing the platform, but not the whole platform itself. I want to make sure like the core foundations are there that like you can just pop on there. And if you're willing enough to watch those videos, I'm probably betting on the fact that you're willing to go to the gym and go work out and do those things. So it's more so an exclusive group for those who actually want it.
Who actually will take action.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I want action takers because it's not easy. Not easy, but it's definitely rewarding.
That's awesome, man. Vex, do you have anything for him? I know you're big and I would imagine want to talk to him about social media and what he's doing on social media and how he's giving back on social media.
Yeah, you know, I want, you know, obviously a lot of people in your generation and younger are on social media a lot, and there's the good and there's the bad of social media. I think, you know, what you do is the good. We need more people doing that. Do you have any advice for people who are, you know, trying to help others with their skill sets or passions on social media? And also, what are some of the downsides that you've seen putting yourself out there?
That's a good question. Obviously, like you could think of lots of downsides, but I also think of all the upsides as well. I think of like all the like initially, I think, okay, off the hop, you're a college hockey player, right? You're in a school, you're in a small school. Everybody knows. That's the one big thing is like no matter what you put out there, you have to be willing to die on your own sword, whether you think you're right or wrong. And obviously, like maybe if you feel like, you know, you posted something that like comes across as like snarky or like maybe directed towards a certain population, you have to be willing to one, back it up, or two, just accept that maybe you're wrong too. In those two things. The other thing I see is like when I am putting out the beneficial content, like there's nothing better than like one, obviously you don't look for acknowledgement when you're posting this stuff. This comes out of pure passion. The reason why I do a free school community is because I don't want them to pay a dime for it. I want them to have access because they're passionate about their sport. And where was I going with this is like when I see like comments that are like helpful, comments that are like, hey, keep doing this. We love the content. I love how you're doing this and that. I think that's like a huge thing to just notice that you can keep going. But definitely early on in the process, you feel that hold of like judgment. But I always thought about it like this. Like I was thinking about doing social media during my junior career, but I just didn't have the balls to. Straight factual. I just thought like, hey, is my regret going to be bigger than my fear, or do I want my fear of judgment to be bigger than my regret? And every single time I was like, okay, I got to realize that the fear of judgment cannot be greater than my regret. It just can't. And that's how I decided, okay, I'm just going to go into social media. It doesn't matter what happens. I just do not want to regret not giving out this advice that someone should be giving it out. Even if I play Division III hockey, like at the end of the day, I might not be.
First of all, don't say even.
Don't say that.
Don't say even.
I know.
You know how you're in the probably 1% of hockey players that are playing Division III or higher.
Yeah.
So like, don't ever say a negative thing about yourself. You're where you are for a reason, and you know that's something when guys play in a junior league and it's not the USHL or it's not the OHL. Oh, I just play in this. No, you don't just play there. You play there. It's amazing. You're further than how many players that you played with all growing up that didn't make it to your level. Don't ever, downgrade the things that you have accomplished because, somebody said something to you online or something stupid, right? And it's probably somebody who's not there and could never be there either, which is usually the case as well. So, never say that. And it's super important. And I'm glad you're on there and I'm glad that you're giving out all the free info you are. And it's really, really cool. We need more people like that, whether it's social media or in person or anywhere, just helping the next generation of hockey and continue that positive feedback loop that we're all trying to make happen, I think, on this call.
Yeah. Appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
All right, man. Last question for you.
Let's do it.
You had Alyssa Gallardi as a coach at Newman. And Gags has been, I think she's a 3-time guest, maybe even 4-time guest. And I've done a lot of different stuff with her. I think she's one of the sharpest hockey minds out there. She's an assistant coach in the NA in Rochester right now. Their team just won. I believe they just won their first round as an expansion team in the playoffs, which is awesome. And so talk a little bit about your experience with Gags and how I'm assuming how great she was.
Yeah. I mean, Gags, Alyssa, she was absolutely amazing. We honestly just wish she just stuck around longer. I know it, like, just the way the circumstances went, she couldn't. It was just like, it was almost like a breath of fresh air having a different perspective when she came in. She was only here for those, the 6 months that she was here, but she was always like, Alyssa was always willing to go out of her way to do whatever it took to like make sure we could get better. Like she was willing to go the extra mile. If like defensemen specifically on our team, like I'm a forward, didn't have the same exposure, but anytime that they wanted like to, have personal one-on-one sessions just to have video chats and like take a look at their game film, she would always be willing to take that time. And I think you can tell, I was thinking about almost her today, like you can tell like people who give out information are usually ones who are just like passionate about it. They're just so passionate about the sport. And I think that's where I could connect with her the most, is like we were super passionate on the ice when we wanted to be out there. And honestly, I just wish we got to soak up more of that information for a longer period of time. And I know our defensemen were always like, we just wish we had more time with her, because obviously things are turning around here and it's going to be really good. So
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I'm
Well,
happy she's doing well.
She's doing well for sure. And hey, man, so are you. And we appreciate you hopping on the podcast with us. This has been a phenomenal conversation for everybody out there, especially the kids that are listening to this, that are old enough to be on social media, which is what, like 16? 16 is when you should start social media.
Yeah.
25.
Do me a favor, Luke, just tell everybody kind of where they can find you, social media, your community, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just you can find me. Dana Life's on YouTube. I only have a couple of them, but my main taglines are at Luke Crocha. It's not Crocher, it's Crocha. No ER at the end, but an A at the end. And that's where you can find me. I try to dabble into a bunch of different content. That's kind of one of my struggles, is that I do not provide just hockey specific, but it's a little bit of the lifestyle of it all. And I want to make sure they get the full experience of it. And obviously you don't have to follow me. You can come check me out. And if you like it, great. If not, you know what? I hope you all well in your hockey career, because you need all the information you can get.
That's awesome. Vex is a little bit more vindictive. If they don't follow him, he's gonna hold a grudge.
And he's on. But thank you guys. Seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome having you on, guys. Go follow this guy. If your kid's listening, you know, hopefully you're not having your own social media, but if you are using social media and you're on it, stop following TikTok dances, stop following butt cheeks, follow people that will make you smarter, follow people that will make you better. Stop rotting your brain. Who you follow will help you or hurt you. So make sure you're following the right people.
Love it, man. Well, Luke, we're going to grab you for another 10 questions that we're going to have in our Hockey Think Tank community. And for everybody, go to community.thehockeythinktank.com and you will get access to this 10 questions that we do with our guests every week. And so, Luke, you ready to rock and roll, my man?
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.